Thank you for joining me, Diana Master, on NMH at 1, where we highlight the news making waves in Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and a whole lot more. We'll be right back with our midday news update right after this.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Tufini. What are you reading?
I'm reading about the Child Care and Protection Act in this pamphlet I got from school.
What's that?
It is Namibia's main law for the children and the issues affecting them. The Act classifies here that a child is anyone under the age of 18 years. Check out some of the rights meant to protect you. For more information, contact the Children's Advocate.
For more information, contact the Children's Advocate Namibia in the Office of the Ombudsman on 061 20 73 111. Send us an SMS on 20401. SMS costs 40 cents. You can also send us a message via our Facebook page. Remember, the services of the Children's Advocate are free of charge.
In our midday news update, Bank of Namibia Governor Johannes Gabagaba has announced that the repo rate will remain unchanged at 7.75% to maintain the one-to-one peg with the South African rand. Domestic inflationary pressures eased further since the Precious Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Likewise, inflation decelerated to 4.5% in March relative to the 5.4% for January 2024 reported at the previous MPC meeting. Looking ahead, inflation is anticipated to slow down to 4.9% in 2024, he said. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after this. Stay with NMH at 1.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting into our visual news, Theophilus Ngitila, the Executive Director of the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, says that all stakeholders need to make a collective effort to ensure the safety of tourists visiting the coastal region.
Honorable Governor just indicated, passenger liners, the clients are of advanced age. They need our assistance from all of us if we are to benefit. When they dock, when they get out, they should feel safer. They should feel welcomed. We should improve also our customs services wherever they go. Either they are visiting in our malls. I would like to see security presence there. I went to the mall yesterday after the cruise ship arrived. I have seen the passengers there, a lot of them. It's good for our economy. If they spend $1,000, that money was never part of our economy. And it remained there here. And therefore there is always direct, indirect benefits from activities of tourism. And therefore collectively we should really address this crime against the tourists.
Wendy Narusas, the Marketing and Communications Manager of Sanlam Namibia, shares more on their extra roadshow, which is in Walvis Bay today.
Hi Hi everyone, I'm Wendy Narusis, the Marketing and Communications Manager here at Sanlam. Well, we're very delighted to find ourselves in Willfish Bay this morning because we are relaunching a very it's already existing in the market, but we have added some enhancements to our already existing Sanlam Extra program, which is ultimately just a rewards program. And we have benefit partners that we have added, such as NAMBOB, Hungry Lion that we have. So there are multiple benefits to this amazing program. So that's basically what we are relaunching, and we are honored to have the governor with us this morning. So yes.
Now, for the people who don't know about these extra products, what would you tell them?
I think, first of all, what are you waiting for? Please do sign up because it's an incredible program. Because when it comes to insurance, a lot of the times you just pay the premiums and you don't really get anything until you have demise and your family benefits, which is incredible because it gives your family that much needed peace of mind. But with our rewards program, what it means is you as the active premium payer actually gets to benefit, and you get benefits that will benefit you in your everyday life, such as airtime, data. We have 24 hours psychologists that you can call. If you are somewhere on the road and you're stuck, we have emergency services, aeroplane-wise, tow trucks that can be sent to you. So these are some of the benefits that we have under this rewards program. And we were one of the first companies that launched it within Namibia. So it's quite an experience. So I would really urge you to experience it on your own.
Now it's a road show. Where to next?
So next we are going to Ludrats. And after Ludrats, we are heading up north to Omphia and Enana as well, because the idea is really just to go to the people, go to the communities that we operate on, using our intermediaries just to talk about it and just create that much needed hype on this incredible program.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
After the break, the Namibian Sun leads us into our newspaper review segment. Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. The Namibian Sun reports that the government has admitted it cannot keep up with Swapo's 2022 Congress resolution that all veterans of the liberation struggle should receive payouts before 2024, a move that observers said was meant to appease the freedom fighters ahead of this year's crucial general election. Defense and Veteran Affairs Minister Frans Kapofi has confirmed that a sizable number of veterans will remain unattended, a situation that is likely to infuriate many ahead of the November election. Kapofi has been grappling with funding Swapo's ambitious directive, saying last year that while the government sympathized with liberation combatants who have not yet received their token of appreciation, it had competing priorities to attend to. On page 3, solid waste workers fear the city of Windhoek will not renew their contracts when they lapse in June. They want the Urban and Rural Development Ministry to launch an investigation into their exploitative temporary contracts, claiming their efforts for redress have fallen on deaf ears. The workers have been employed on 6-month contracts for years and said these contracts do not offer job security or sustainable livelihood. Namibia Civil Servants and Parastatals Workers Unions, Acting General Secretary Joseph Karoeb handed over a petition on the matter to the ministry last week. NAC-SPU is an affiliate of the Namibia National Labour Organization. While their contract's coming to an end in June, the workers have urged Minister Erastus Sutoni to reply within 5 days. On the front page of the Republican, indications suggest that Namibia will experience serious food shortages, especially for staple cereal crops, and will require food imports from outside Namibia to cover the demand. Unfortunately, our neighbors on whom we usually depend have also received below normal rainfall, which significantly reduced their cereal production, said Agriculture Minister Carl Schlettwein this week. As a result, Namibia will have to import cereals from other sources outside the SADC region. This in turn means the domestic food basket costs a lot for local consumers, the minister said. Increasing pressures. Schlettwein was speaking during the ministry's annual planning workshop for the 2024-2025 financial year. He said Namibia's growing population has put pressure on resources such as land, agriculture and water. Namibia's population has doubled since independence from 1.4 million to 3.3 million. Going into the future will be more difficult, not easier, since the resources, whether land for agriculture or water, have not grown. He said it is common knowledge that about 70% of the Namibian population directly and indirectly depends on agriculture for their livelihoods. On page 3, the Health Ministry, with the support of the B2 Gold Mine on Tuesday, hosted a groundbreaking ceremony in Oshwarongo for the Umbili Clinic, worth $6 billion Namibian dollars, according to the mine. During the ceremony, B2 Gold Country Manager John Ruas said the clinic will be unveiled in November 2024 as construction kicks off. As we fast-track this project, we hope to partner with like-minded people, developing the perfect partnership, rather. In 2019, we initiated the construction of the Umbili Primary School, which currently accommodates about 1,300 learners, facilitated by a team of 30 dedicated teachers, 5 volunteers, and 1 person for administration. We are the exclusive benefactors of this project and have completed 24 classrooms and 2 grade 0 classroom blocks to date. That brings us to the end of the first half of our newspaper review segment. Actually, my apologies. Let's take a look at what's headlining the Algemeine Zeitung front page. An application by the Namibian opposition party Popular Democratic Movement, which is dragging the government to court about a long-term lease of a farm. The verdict in this court case that deals with a long-term lease of about 20,000 hectares of land not far from Dodabis, on which Russian billionaire Rashid Sadorov had promised the Namibian state to develop a luxury lodge and thereby create jobs, is expected to be announced on the 15th of August. The PDM has filed the motion in the High Court, amongst others, against the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, the Minister of Finance and the State President. They had originally planned to file the motion in 2018 already. The Russian investor Rashid Sadorov is said to have donated money to the state to gain ownership of the farm Koas, generally known as Marula Game Ranch, in the Dodabis region. On the paper's page 3, the paper brings an interesting snippet about the annual Tourism Expo, which is just around the corner and will once again offer exciting activities for young and old. The African Millimeter Telescope team will be entertaining school children and adults and guiding them through the stars in a mobile planetarium. However, the number of tickets that can be purchased online at etickets.my.na for specific time slots is limited, so stargazers have to act now. According to the organizer of this project, Yolanda Nell from NTV, this is a great opportunity to learn more about astrology. Stay with us as we get into the second half of our newspaper review segment right after this.
Hallo Namibia, ons is by die kus en ons is lus.
By the Easter shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, please, today you make sure that we are fed. Sorry, ek as nie.
Headlining the Namibian newspaper, Namibia is expected to house at least 2,000 more millionaires in the next 10 years, a wealth report states. This is an increase of 85% from the current 2,300 millionaires, who have 19 million Namibian dollars at their disposal. The report says Namibia is driven by its status as one of Africa's top 10 wealthiest nations, attracting significant investments and high net worth individuals from abroad. As of December 2023, there were approximately 2,300 individuals in Namibia with a wealth exceeding around 19 million Namibian dollars and 3 individuals with a wealth over 1 billion Namibian dollars. The Africa Wealth Report 2024 was released yesterday by international wealth advisory firm Henley & Partners. It shows that Namibia saw an increase of 32% in its millionaire population from 2013 to 2023. On the paper's page 3, the bilateral relationship between Angola and Namibia not only remains strong but grows from strength to strength, Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation Executive Director Pinda Nanda says. In a statement yesterday, Nanda said the behavior of the Namibian farmers remains a cause of concern for both countries. However, the sister republics are determined to deal with the situation through diplomatic channels. Nanda was responding to an editorial published in the Namibian on the 12th of April titled "Angola's Beef with Namibia is Getting Real." Nanda said the editorial has the potential to fuel unnecessary tensions between the two countries. The ministry would like to stress that the two countries are firmly rooted in a common people, history, blood and sacrifice, he said. The New Era's lead story reports that workers' unions and employers' federations have called for the dissolution of the Namibia Training Authorities Board, saying it was constituted in a flawed and illegal manner. Their demand has been communicated to Higher Education Minister Ita Kanji-Murangi. Their wish, however, cannot be granted as it came too late, the minister said at a media conference on Monday. The unions comprise the Namibian Employers Federation, Namibia Employers Association, National Union of Namibian Workers, and the Trade Union Congress of Namibia. On page 3, the remuneration of civil servants has consumed the government's 2.8 billion Namibian dollars during the last financial year, despite criticism of service delivery. This high expenditure is attributed to the salary increase received during the last financial year. The salary adjustments include a 5% increase in the basic salary for grades 13 to 1, a 20% increase in the housing allowance for non-management staff, a 20% increase in the transport allowance for non-management staff, and an 8% increase in motor vehicle allowance, capital and running costs for management staff. The Public Service Commission indicated the government personnel expenditure budget increased from 43 to 45.50% of the total budget during the previous financial year. The revelation was made by the chairperson of the Commission, Salman Jacobs, yesterday during the courtesy visit to President Nangolo Mbumba. Now, Market Watch reports that Green Hydrogen Commissioner James Newpay says Namibia has been able to achieve cost competitiveness in the solar energy space and has the most competitive prices across the continent. According to him, this should be sufficient to power Namibia's green hydrogen agenda. Newpay added that Namibia's potential to leverage its wind and solar energy is sufficient to power its green hydrogen ambitions, with 15 to 20 million tons of hydrogen equivalent being targeted by 2050. That brings us to the end of our newspaper review. Right after this, we bring you economic news.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
In economic news this afternoon, Namibia National Reinsurance Corporation CEO Patty Karai Martin says the reinsurer has been able to grow its assets to just more than 1 billion Namibian dollars over 5 years, demonstrating growth at the state-owned reinsurer. She shared the milestone ahead of the submission of the company's new strategic plan, which outlines Namibia's future projects. We'll now take a look at the economic indicators just before we get into our African news. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.62 against the British pound, 20.19 to the euro, 18.99 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 62 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. First Rand Namibia Limited stocks took a dip of 0.50%. Letsego Holdings and Namibia Breweries Limited stocks took upturns of 2.5 and 0.03% respectively, while the rest maintained. Local index closed in an upturn of 0.12%, while overall index took a dip of 0.05%. Both commodities, gold and copper, are up, while platinum and Brent crude oil took dips of 0.29 and 1.04% respectively. Now getting into our African news, the opposition in Togo has denounced a proposed new constitution as a power grab intended to extend the reign of President Faure Gnassingbé. The reforms would see the West African country move from a presidential to a parliamentary system, but the opposition says they are a ruse to keep Gnassingbé already in his fourth term in power. The president's supporters say the changes would reduce the powers of the head of state by transforming the presidency into a ceremonial role. Stick around. Right after this, we get into international news. In international news, the name of late Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar cannot be registered as an EU trademark, the European Court of Justice ruled on Wednesday after his brother tried to lay a claim. The court upheld the decision of the EU's Intellectual Property Office that refused a trademark application by Escobar Incorporated in 2022. EU IPO correctly found that those persons would associate the name of Pablo Escobar with drug trafficking and narco-terrorism and with the crimes and suffering resulting therefrom rather than with his possible good deeds in favor of the poor in Colombia. We'll now take a quick ad break and return with our local sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting through the local sports news, the Namibia Hockey Union has announced its men's and women's national squad selected to compete in the 2024 Indo-Africa Cup to be hosted in Swapo from the 23rd to the 26th of May. The first leg of the 2024 International Paris Tournament, being held this year under a new sponsor, King Prize, supported by Castle Light, took place on Saturday the 13th of April. The inaugural edition of the Salt Showdown, a social boxing event organized by Namibia Boxing Academy in conjunction with Club Salt, featured 11 fights and a crowd challenge that added an extra layer of excitement to the event. Stick around. Right after this, we bring you international sports and get into our highlights thereafter. Kylian Mbappe struck twice as PSG battled back to beat 10-man Barcelona 4-1 and book a place in the Champions League semi-finals with a 6-4 aggregate triumph on Tuesday. Borussia Dortmund stormed into the Champions League semi-finals with a rip-roaring 4-2 home win over Atletico Madrid on Tuesday that saw them fight back from a 2-1 defeat in the first leg to win the tie 5-4 on aggregate. And Mamelodi Sundowns coach Sinetemba Badela is not losing sleep over the intriguing DStv Diski Challenge League title race. On Sunday, Sundowns suffered a 1-0 shock defeat to Sekhukhune United at Solomon Mahlangu Stadium. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1 and we'll get into today's highlights right after this. If you're just joining us, or for those of you that need a quick recap, let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. In African news, the opposition in Togo has denounced a proposed new constitution as a power grab intended to extend the reign of President Faure Gnassingbé. In international news, the name of late Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar cannot be registered as an EU trademark, the European Court of Justice ruled on Wednesday after his brother tried to lay a claim. And in local sports news, the Namibia Hockey Union has announced its men's and women's national squads selected to compete in the 2024 Indo-Africa Cup to be hosted in Swakopmund from the 23rd to the 26th of May. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From all of us in studio, happy Wednesday.